so now that we've gone through the double stick, I want to go through some stick and dagger. So this is, no one expects how savage this can really get. All they see this particular strike is this here as I do the cross block here, right, and then I place it here, right? But what I can do and what I want you to practice, right, is I want you to be able to practice coming through this position here and then immediately getting this wrench. And as you get that wrench, go after this hand, right? Then you can clear through and you can do whatever you like, right? So let me show you how I'm doing that one more time. I'm receiving that cross, you see that right there?
Yes, sir.
And then I'm snaking through or vining, sometimes my dad would call that vining, to get this wrench here, and then I go after that hand. Now it may not occur that way, but you want to build that skill. So you're doing a cross block, right? So do that cross block here, and then what you're going to do is dive your hand through here, and then get that. So you see that arm bar that you get there, right? And then you immediately go after this right here. So this is important as a concept. The idea here is that I'm going to entangle and immediately go after this. Even if he starts to pull this away, I'm already going after that. That's fine, right? That's what I'm going after. So as soon as you get this defense, you're coming through here, and this should have already struck me. So that was good, that strike that you did there. But back up a little bit, right? So when I get this through here, I'm already going here. So this is where I've gotten that wrench, and I'm already going after that hand, right? Because this is my next immediate threat, right? So when I strike you, you do the same thing immediately. Yes, just like that, right? And then you can finish. Now, even if I pull my hand away, so I go like this, and I see you dive in, I'm going, whoa! Doesn't matter, you take off that hand, right? So I'll do it again, all right? Right here, and I'll come through here like this, right? So I'm going after that. Now you go after the groin, you go after the neck, you do any of those things. And that's what Serrata brings you to once you get past just doing the basic counter. All right, leave you with an angle 5 for this lesson right here. So I'm going through here, I want you to practice this defense, which is the one-step pass or the single pass on angle 5, right? So don't ever let anyone catch you with this cheap shot combination, right? So the person feeds you an angle 1 here, and then they immediately swing to the 5. So no, not that one, it's in here, right? So you come through here, good, just like that, right? So it's tempting because you go like this here, and then you're trying to get this through here a lot of times, what people do, right? And so if we really have this down, right, then the combo could be this. So if I'm using cross, right, I can go like this here, and then immediately just parry there and then do that counter. Or maybe I'm doing sweep, right? So I come through here and do the sweep, and all of a sudden that's immediately there. It's easy for us to do. You strike that here, and I come through here like this and do that pass, and again, there. Even if I do like a 2, like I do an umbrella here, I come through here, we're gonna work on that 1 and 5, right? So you do any defense here, right? You're watching, right? And then you're gonna parry with that dagger, right? So that's that basic defense. So if I did it basic single stick, you strike with 5, the counter is done this way as a fundamental counter in Serrata, right? But what's gonna happen here is I go like this to get his defense there, and then he gets to use his dagger or his empty hand to do that. So let me take you and have you do that, right? So you do any defense against this here, right? And then you're gonna step back with that foot and parry with this dagger. You can come through here just like that, and then you hit back. Hit, check, block, right? Now we don't need to step back, right? So if you strike me with the 1, right, I do a cross here and you come through this position here, I can just have my right foot there, right? I don't need to step forward or back or anything like that. So even when I'm doing this here, you strike me here, maybe I can do here, and I just replace my feet here and I get that done, right? So you defend, right? And then just replace your feet. Good. Yeah, and then you do that strike. And so this gets us used to this idea of tactics of mistake. I strike high to get your defense here so that I can expose this. But if you're really good with your live hand, you're not exposed, right? You can get your stick down there, but it's going to take some time, and it's time that you don't have. All right, that's really good. Let me take your spot here. Right. Defense in Filipino martial arts is a myth we tell beginners, right? So let's go back to angle 2, right? You come to this position here, and I'm going to come through here. So what I'm going to do instead is that instead of waiting for this, like you could do this, and people will tell you that this is, the thing to do, and yes, it is for basics. But the thing is I can respond to the load. Now what happens is that this becomes an attack, and I'm choosing this particular counter because it's the easiest counter to demonstrate with it. It could be done with this counter, right here. But in this case, what I'm doing is I'm going to do it with this counter. As soon as he loads, I'm attacking right here. Right? Now, I could also get him to defend, right, and then come to this position here. Right? We've done that with double stick, but I want you to see it with stick and dagger too. So as soon as I load, he's coming in and he's jamming me up, right? And then he's doing that, right? So go ahead and try that out, right? So I want you to load up on James Patrick, and then I want you to come right in, right? You should not be waiting for him. As soon as he lifts his hand into that position, you move forward, right? Move in, good, right? And then you do your hit, your check, and your lock, right? Good. Don't step back, just stay there, right? And so now when you load for your angle 2, that's an angle 1, that's an angle 2, and then immediately Patrick is in there, right? So the idea is to respond to the chamber and not the actual attack. Sure, we're gonna need to do that too, but defense is a myth. We can attack with our Serrata. My father would teach that this, the knife, is the ultimate equalizer. So we're going to do blocking drill 2. We're still doing Serrata, but what we're going to do is we're going to do it with a knife, right? So the first thing is the cross block here is for the first part, but I'm going to catch the wrist now and then cut here or catch here, and I can use saber grip or I can just use this regular grip. And then the other side is here, and I'm here doing the shoulder counter. That would be this motion here, and then I would switch my feet for the cross block here, and then from here bring my feet together, but now I'm doing the cross counter, the Serrata cross counter here. And that's the basics of this. So give that a try first, right? Good, cross. Then you switch your feet, good, and then switch your feet again, good, and then switch your feet again, good. Right, and then you see James do it, good, cross, good, cross, good, here, kind of, yeah. So you've got the right hand positioning, James, but let me take your position here, right? So here, when the strike comes here, I'm really just doing this block, right? Because that's the block if we're doing cross block. But I'm going to do it here instead of here, or if I'm not caring about my training partner, I can do it this way, but I'm here like this, here, right? And then when he feeds the 2, I'm not doing this, Patrick. I'm just keep that stiffness so that you can come here and cut this way. And then the strike comes through here. And now I'm either blocking on your knuckles if you give me a tight angle, or I'm doing this here, right? And then from here. Now, I know that this is here, so when we strike here, this is the ultimate equalizer. My dad used to say it's ultimate equalizer because anybody can be deadly with the knife, especially in the hands of a trained person, right? So if I'm here like this, I can immediately just cut that hand, right? Shoulder comes through, I'm like this and immediately cut that hand. I don't have to worry about it because it's going to be the next thing I'm going to go after anyways. And if he doesn't use it, then I just cut the neck, right? And then I come through here. So I want you to try that too, okay? You guys got that?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's see you guys do that. Good. That's much better. Good. And then work your feet there. You have to use the same footwork, right? Now feet back. Just like the normal blocking drill. Good. So you got to work on that catch. Feed him to 3 again, right? So you're here. So think about it this way. You're going to catch this here, right? And you're going to cut here. So you're catching like this. So, but on his hand and on his wrist, not on the knife, because you don't need that. So put this here. That's right. Right? Do it again. Good. That's what you're working towards, right? So you're trying to get that position. And I know you're being nice, try to flatten. Just put the edge of the blade, the training blade against his wrist. So repeat that 3 again. Right? Good. So you can see, right, that with this position here, Serrata is equally useful with a single blade, against single blade. And that's one of the things that we want to practice. That's what makes the knife such a great tool to use and why Serrata is applicable in these styles. Okay, that was really good. So let's move on with the drill. This is how you break the hand with the knife. So when he's striking me here and I block, I can come immediately here and I can use the puño on there, right? So the same thing here is I come through this position here and I'm doing this block here, doing blocking drill 2 for Serrata here, and then immediately either going this way, or coming through here, going this way. Now if it's that hand that I'm worried about, so I'll come through here comes the punch. Instead of cutting, I just use the puño for that, right? This is just as injurious with a stick or a blade of sword, or with a palm stick, right? So we come through here. So now what we're doing is we're working on this position, but we're immediately going after the arm or going after the hand here. So I want you to practice that way. So then you come through this position here. So the first thing I want you to do is just go after the hand. That's the first thing. So let me see you guys do that first, right? Good, yes. Right, and then on the other side, good, yes. Right. Good. Yeah, you gotta get that position correct, Patrick. That's the way that you gotta work on it, right? And then on the other side, good. Here, good, right? And then it's his turn, right? And then immediately to that hand, good. And then do your shoulder here, so catch this way. Here, that's right. Now go straight back to the hand, good, right? And then the other side. So by practicing and going through this rigor, you're learning how to fit the knife in the option or in the context. So the next thing, let me do this with Patrick. So the next thing for me to do is I go and do the block and then immediately go after this hand, right? So now he comes through here like this, I'm coming here like this, and immediately go after this hand here. right? He comes through this position here. I block this way, and I'm immediately going after that hand, right? I come through here like this, and I'm immediately going after that hand. So that's what makes this so that you can break a hand with the puño or break the hand with the knife. We don't always have to cut. We can pry with this, we can disarm with it, and we can break it. Let's see you guys do that again. Good. Yeah, you gotta catch it correctly, good. Translating from stick to knife is hard. I understand that. That's why we're doing this drill. Good, that's good. Right. Good. All right, good. All right, that's excellent. So you can see now, the knife is the ultimate equalizer, and I can also, instead of just cutting or stabbing, I can break. And then catch that. Good. Sorry, start again. Okay. Good. Again. Catch. Good. Okay. So you suck at fighting if you're doing this. Video games or thinking that this is sport fighting stuff, it's going to take a lot of repetition. So when we do this drill, what we're really working on is this here, right here, and this here, right? And then this here, right? And then I'll go this way instead, right here. So one more time, I'm coming through here. So practice it this way, right? In order for us to get the repetitions in, right? So one more time, I come through here, I do the shoulder here, I'll do the cross here, I'll do the cross here. Right? I'll do the cross again here, I'll do that shoulder motion there, come through here like this, and come through here like that, right? And so that's what you're gonna work on. So let me see you guys do that. So this is mostly just so that you get the repetitions. Do your shoulder there, good, right? And go there, good. And then do your cross there, good, and then do your cross here, good. So it's not a punch, just use the puño like when we practice that. That way you can, instead of slashing, you can do that and that person can practice catching, right? So go ahead and do it, James. Right, feet on one, good. Your cross here, now do your shoulder, good. There, good. Now do your cross here, good. Do it again, good. There, and then do your cross there, good. And then feet back, one, here, good. Shoulder, good. Good. So feet in 1, 2, 1, 2. So feet in 1, 2, there, good. And then shoulder, there. And then cross, here, and then through here, good. And then cross more time, good, and then shoulder. I'll bring it to the 3, James, right? Good. So from there, good. So it's hard, huh? And it's hard to force yourself to do all those things. And that's what is different about traditional martial arts and what's going to take a lot of skill. A lot of people are going to say, oh, that'll never work in a real fight. It's probably because they've never put the time in. You have to put a lot of time in. Just remember that every technique dies, every poor technique dies on the battlefield. So what we need to understand is that these techniques, because the old way was, we didn't have training blades, right? The old stories that I got from my elders is that they trained with live blades. They just kept a sheath on, or they would put cardboard or tape on it and they would continue to work on it that way, because they were working with real steel and the real weight and the real balance, and it took a lot of repetition and time because you couldn't do it hard and fast all the time because they were working with real blades. They weren't working with any kind of training dummies, right? So you're going to suck if you don't do it right and if you don't practice it a lot. That's the real message here for this part of the lesson.